Yes? Kumasawa and Shannon, pushing the serving cart, ran into Genji and Kanon on the way to the kitchen. Oh, it's Genji-san. Did you lend Maria-san an umbrella? An umbrella? What are you talking about? Well, I heard that when it started raining, Maria-sama was alone in the rose garden. It seems she borrowed an umbrella from someone there, but we don't know who it was. It wasn't me. After all, I actually thought Maria-sama was in the guest house. When Battler-sama first found her, she was already holding a wet umbrella. My apologies, but it was not me either. Then, could it actually be the master? Both in the dining hall and right here, everyone had stated that they hadn't done it. That left only Kinzo, but... Maybe he went walking down the corridor for some reason. We just happened to see Maria-sama in the rose garden without even an umbrella. The master is not particularly fond of Maria-sama. I agree. I can't imagine that for Maria-sama's sake he'd go to all the trouble of descending the stairs with an umbrella. Oh my, how troublesome. Does that mean the one who lent Maria-sama an umbrella really was Beatrice-sama? Ho 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 ho! Kumasawa laughed, just like the relatives in the dining hall who had laughed it off. She couldn't think of any other way to break through the smoke veiling the current situation. Just then, the crisp sound of hands clapping twice rang through the hallway. They all turned around at once to see Goda coming out of the dining hall. Okay, everyone. When serving a dinner, proper timing while setting the table is essential. Please, immediately see to setting out the soup. Genji-san, the women are in the middle of an important job, so please don't get in their way. Kanon glared at Goda for being rude to Genji, a person Kanon respected. Genji, realizing this, patted Kanon once on the shoulder as a warning. Kanon reluctantly turned away and returned his expression to normal. Obey Goda's instructions. Hurry and prepare the dinner table. Come now, there is no time. Don't dawdle. Man, I hope fucking Goda here ends up being one of the sacrifices. Dude's a fucking prick. I don't like this man at all. He fucking embarrassed Shannon like that. He's fucking picking on Kanon, fucking disrespecting Genji. Like, oh. I hope this man gets some comeuppance. Alright. Goda grabbed the serving cart from Shannon and steadily pushed it towards the kitchen. And please allow us to return to the kitchen. After all, Goda-san's temper is very short. Ho 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 ho. But please excuse me as well. Kumasawa and Shannon left. Only Genji and Kanon remained. Through the window, the darkness of the rainy night could be seen, along with the occasional thunderbolt. Genji-sama? Did Beatrice-sama really return? I don't know. Shall I inform the master? That is not necessary. If she truly has returned, she will eventually appear before the master of her own accord. Furthermore, she is a fickle person. It would be pointless to report to the master only to find out that she does not appear. I wonder if this means the master's ceremony has already begun. Probably. However, that has nothing to do with furniture like us. We must continue to return to the favor we received from the master until our final moments. Yes, that is furniture's duty. The thunder crashed once more. Except for those instants when lightning lit up the sky, nothing could be seen out the window but the darkness of night. Just as humans rule when the sun is up, those that are not human rule when the sun is down. The darkness of night that now surrounded Rokkenjima was ruled by another master, not the Ushiromiya family. Did this master take pity on Maria when she was alone and being pummeled by the rain in the rose garden, lending her an umbrella? Kanon looked at the rose garden's lights, dimly visible beyond the window. The dim lights weren't enough to illuminate the surrounding area. Looking at those lights felt like making eye contact with the witch, and Kanon forced himself to avert his gaze. If he didn't, it felt like his eyes would be absorbed by that light. I am very excited to see how this episode ends, because I feel like that's how it's like. I feel like we're ramping up towards the ending of the first episode here, and I'm here for it. Can the weather change how people act? You often hear stories about how things like atmospheric pressure can influence people's moods and physical health. For some time now, everyone had been struggling to clear the gloomy atmosphere. But any conversation was quickly cut off, and in the end, the dining hall was simply filled by the sound of rain. Dessert was some kind of chocolate cake accompanied by pear sherbet. Goda-san enthusiastically explained the recipe as soon as this final dish was prepared. But I quickly forgot the details. Good. Fuck Goda. The guest of honor, grandfather, was absent, the weather was horrible, and the identity of the one who'd lent Maria an umbrella remained a mystery. When dinner ended, no one felt even one bit refreshed. It was too late now, but I realized painfully that taste wasn't the only important part of a meal. The whole atmosphere was also crucial. Goda-san, the supposed conductor of this musical piece called Dinner, did his best to enliven the place, dropping little jokes left and right. Apparently not one of them succeeded. After taking orders for after-dinner coffee, tea, and orange juice, he left for the kitchen. As soon as he disappeared, Uncle Kraus spoke. My. What a waste that the dinner Goda worked so hard to create has met with such a gloomy atmosphere.
Yes, absolutely. It just feels like nothing would taste good today.
Huh. I'd like to know why you feel that way. Later on, I'll do all I can as your older brother to help cheer you up. Aunt Eva grimaced slightly. I'd already heard she wasn't on good terms with Uncle Kraus, but it was pretty clear now. When I looked around, I noticed that my father and Aunt Rosa were also grimacing. Apparently there was something besides the weather troubling all of them. Both Aunt Eva and my dad, they're looking too happy.
Really? I don't think so.
I asked Aunt Nazi, who was sitting on my right, but she seemed to be in a bad mood as well. She snapped back as if to say she was absolutely not interested. Well, our adult conversation got a little complicated. It isn't something kids like you need to worry about, Balor-kun. Isn't that right, Natsume-san? Kairi-san? Uncle Hideyoshi laughed as he spoke, but without his usual brightness, so I could vaguely imagine just how complicated their adult conversation had become. On top of that, even Aunt Natsu and Kairi-san, the people that he had directed his comment to, ignored him, as though they hadn't heard anything. I didn't know what kind of conversation they'd been having while his kids were away, but it reminded me of how Dad said he'd had stomach cramps when he arrived at the mansion. The family conference might have been a playful reunion to us kids, but it was definitely different for the adults. After Uncle Hideyoshi's comment was ignored by the other adults, and an awkward silence fell over the room, Kairi-san spoke up. We were talking about how the kids' careers would turn out. Such as what lies in your future, Balor-kun. Will you just drift on to college? Wouldn't that be a little disheartening as a starting line for the long race of life? Hey, wait a sec. Kairi-san, if you start talking about something like that in the middle of a meal, it won't digest well and we'll end up getting constipated. That's right. We're talking about Balor-kun's and Jessica-chan's careers. You've got to think seriously about the future. Hideyoshi heartily agreed as if they really had been talking about that, but that was probably wrong. Kairi-san had obviously been trying to change the subject. However, if Kairi-san had determined that this was the best course of action for now, then she was probably right. Taking this into account, I cast aside my suspicions as to the cause behind Aunt Eva and Dad's bad moods. At long last, the servant cart returned, filled with coffee and tea. Kumasawa-san and Channon-chan served it to everyone. Goda-san then explained that this concluded tonight's meal. If only the mood had been a bit more cheery, it might have been the best dinner of my life. It was a shame this best of dinners couldn't have been had under the best conditions.
George Oni-chan, is dinner over now? Over?
Yes. With this, dinner is finished.
Don't be rude. Stay in your seat and calmly drink up.
Maria looked like she was really excited by the occasionally crashing thunder. Maybe she wanted to quickly finish eating and run over to the window. She had been fidgeting for a while, waiting for the meal to end. Some people are afraid of thunder, while others find it interesting, and Maria was apparently one of the latter sort. Therefore, when she heard from George Oniki that dinner was over, a huge smile broke across her face. She then rose from her seat, took out her handbag, which she set on her seat, never having left it even while she was eating, began fishing around inside of it. No one seemed particularly concerned by this behavior. What's that? Where did you get it? George was the first to notice it. As he spoke, Badler noticed it too. Ooh. They saw that Maria was now holding a beautiful Western-style envelope. On the front of the envelope, the Ushiromiya family crest, the one-winged eagle, was done in gold leaf. Furthermore, the fact that it was sealed with a dark red wax made it clear this wasn't something Maria could have brought as a prank.
Maria-chan, what is that?
Seeing that Natsume had also noticed the strangeness of the envelope Maria was holding. Her voice sounded too serious for someone admonishing a small child, so the relatives around us finally noticed too. What happened, Natsume-san?
What? as that. Maria, where did you pick that up?
That envelope has Kinzo-san's. When Anjo muttered that, even us kids could understand why everyone seemed to be frozen solid. The envelope that Maria held was one of the Ushirome family head's custom-made envelopes for private use. In other words, it could only mean one thing. This envelope contained a message from Kinzo. Huh. What is an envelope like that doing here? Now that's an interesting thing to come jumping out at us. Just let me have a peek.
No way, I'll read it. I was told to read it to everyone.
Uncle Hideyoshi tried to snatch the envelope out of Maria's hands, but she protected it as though hugging it and didn't let go. Hideyoshi-san, you can't use force against a child. Maria-chan, where did you get this envelope?
I got it from Beatrice, which gave me the umbrella. She told me to read it to everyone after the meal was over. I'm the witch's messenger.
Messenger? The almighty witch of the island sure likes to mess around. Miller tried to joke about it, but no one laughed.
I wonder what's written inside of it. Maria-chan? Gonna read it.
Oh god. Maria casually opened the envelope. It was sealed only with wax, so she just had to remove the sealing wax to open it. That sealing wax fell onto the desk. Hideyoshi hastily picked it up and stared fixedly at it. He then set it on the center of the table where Natsu, Kairi, and Nanjo stared at it. Imprinted on the sealing wax was the one-winged eagle, which was the Ushirome family crest and also Kinzo's personal crest.
This is the family's head's personal crest.
I know it from the letters I've received from Kinzo-san before. Without a doubt, this is his wax seal.
But aren't there several things in this mansion bearing that crest? For example, if there was some kind of stamp for wax seals, couldn't someone other than Kinzo-san have used it?
No, Kinzo-san would always use a ring on his finger as proof of the Ushirome family headship when he sealed the wax. The shape and complex design is definitely Kinzo-san's seal. This is not necessarily so. Anyone in the family must have received a letter from father at least once. We can eliminate the possibility that someone used that wax as a model to create a fake seal and pass themselves off as father. I agree with Aniki. No matter how much the seal resembles Dad's, we can't prove that it's the real thing. So it doesn't prove this envelope came from him.
I absolutely agree. I cannot approve of arbitrarily deciding that this letter came from Father based solely on the wax seal. Dr. Nanjo, couldn't you use a bit more discretion with your vague words?
I apologize. It's not my place to speak. One after another, all the siblings from Kraus on downwards rejected Nanjo's statement, saying that the envelope Maria held wasn't necessarily from Kinzo. They were afraid. They feared from the bottom of their hearts that Kinzo's intentions were written in there, and that it might be some announcement regarding the inheritance that would be decidedly unfavorable to them.
Maria, the person who gave you that envelope was the same person who lent you that umbrella, right? I don't know what means. Is it true? Yes. So in other words, the witch, Beatrice, gave Maria-chan that envelope along with the umbrella.
Maria nodded forcefully.
I agree with my husband. It's a dubious letter handed over by some suspicious person. It isn't even worth reading.
There's nothing wrong with just reading it, right? Mother said it to Jessica in a small voice, trying to act tough, but Natsu heard him clearly and glared at him with threatening eyes.
And then, Beatrice told you to read it after the meal was over, right, Maria? It's
okay, everyone. This envelope didn't come from Grandfather, but from Beatrice. Regardless of who actually wrote it, why can't we just hear what's inside before we decide? That's right. Even if Father didn't necessarily write it, I'd still like to know what's written inside. Maria-chan, I'm sorry I tried to take it from you by force earlier. I apologize, so will you read it aloud in front of everyone?
Maria, read it.
As all the relatives stared fiercely at Maria, she spread the letter open with a rustle. Do you think it really did come from Dad? Impossible. Whenever Father has announced something to us in the past, he would always send Genji if he didn't do it directly, correct? I cannot believe that he would use such a joke-like approach.
That's right. Maria, a messenger? That definitely doesn't suit Father's taste. Rosa, could this be Maria-chan trying to surprise us by putting on some kind of show?
Maria isn't really a kid
would be capable of something so thoughtful.
Read it, Maria.
Gonna read it.
Please do.
Uh,
The words came out of Maria's mouth, but for some reason her voice seemed different from usual. Everyone went suddenly silent.
Welcome to Rokenjima, members of the Ushiromiya family. I am Beatrice, the alchemist for this family, employed by Kinzo-sama himself.
Ah, that's crazy.
Quiet! I have served him for many years in accordance with our contract, but on this day, Kinzo-sama has announced the final suspension of that contract. Therefore, I ask that you acknowledge my resignation from the position of family alchemist from this day forth.
Oh, foolish. What nonsense.
I can't stand to listen to it. And now there is one part of the contract that must be explained to all present. I, Beatrice, lent Kinzo-sama a vast quantity of gold under certain terms. One of these terms specifies that all the gold is to be returned to me upon the termination of the contract. Furthermore, I am to receive everything of the Ushiromiya family as interest.
Ridiculous! And it's been ridiculous from the very beginning. So it's basically one of those things, right? Doesn't it just sound like one of those contracts with the devil? The contract is expired so they come to collect the interest. Is she trying to grab some retirement money for her old age or something? What a cheeky witch. Ryler-kun, now's the time to joke around. Ryler made a face as if to ask, if I can't make fun of this, what can I make fun of? Some of the adults' faces were pale while others looked dazed.
After hearing this, you may feel as though Kinzo-sama has been savagely ruthless. However, Kinzo-sama did append a special clause to the contract so that you would have a chance to preserve your wealth and honor. If, and only if, that special clause is fulfilled, I will lose my rights to the gold and interest for all eternity.
A special clause?
What is it? Special clause. Beatrice retains the right to collect the gold and accumulate interest upon the termination of the contract. However, if someone is able to discover the hidden gold of this contract, Beatrice must abandon these rights for all time. The collection of the interest will proceed shortly, but if any one of you fulfills the terms of the special clause, I shall return everything, including the portion that has already been collected. Furthermore, as the first step in this collection of Kinzo-sama's debt, I have taken possession of the Ushiromiya family head's ring, which signifies the passage of the Ushiromiya family headship from one individual to another. I ask that you confirm this for yourselves by examining the imprint on the wax seal.
Are they trying to claim that that's the meaning behind this seal? That father would relinquish his ring is unthinkable. Kraus stared at the sealing wax as if trying to burn a hole through it. Ava and Rudolph were doing the same over his shoulder. Come to think of it, when we were playing chess, I have a strange feeling that something was missing from Kinzo-san's finger.
Dr. Nanjo, don't say something so careless just because of a vague memory.
We can't prove its authenticity here. Only by asking Father directly can we determine whether he really handed over his ring and whether this letter tells the truth.
That's right. It's just as Kairi-san says.
Do you really think Kinzo-san will tell you? After all, that person's thoughts sometimes surpass the bounds of common sense. No matter what happened, it's still nonsense. In the first place, the illusion of gold itself is one of Father's tricks. I've already heard enough talk of that gold from the rest of you.
But this is the witch speaking, right? About how the inheritance and all the assets will be handed over to the one who finds the gold, right? So maybe Beatrice-sama is Father's legal advisor, or in charge of his funds. We can't possibly trust some strange person who entrusts such a suspicious paper to a child.
Tanuki, we need you to be frank with us. Is it possible Dad's assets are being managed by someone you don't know? No! That's impossible! As the family head's representative, I control all of Father's assets. It should be impossible for anyone to do as they please with them without me knowing it.
So this must mean there are some assets you don't control, right, Kraus-Nissan?
How foolish! Such assets do not possibly exist.
Oh, but there is such a thing. An asset of Father's that you don't control. There is no way such a thing could exist.
No, it does. It's Father's... No! Beatrice's hidden gold. Let's keep it simple. In short, Dad had some trusted confidant that Aniki doesn't even know about. Furthermore, this person has always been in charge of watching and managing the gold. Or, it could be some eccentric rich person who offered him a loan with rules like a devil's contract. Could it be that this confidant called Beatrice is trying to test which of Kinzo's children is most worthy to be financed by her gold? Kairi's question was one that all the siblings wanted answered. Upon reflection, they realized that Kinzo's strange epitaph had hung in the hall beneath the witch's portrait for quite some time. and while it had long been whispered that whoever solved the puzzle would receive everything, no one had ever clearly stated it. It was just something that everyone had hoped might be true. And right here, right now, the thing they'd hoped for had been clearly stated in Beatrice's letter. It clearly specified that everything of the Ushiromiya family would be given to the one who found the gold.
Kinzo-sama has already publicly displayed the location of the hidden gold within the epitaph under my portrait. The rules apply equally to all who can read the epitaph. If you discover the gold, I shall return everything to you. Tonight, I ask that you enjoy your battle of wits with Kinzo-sama to the fullest. I sincerely pray that this night will be both intellectual and elegant. Beatrice the Golden.
Oh. Father, I know you can hear me. Please respond. The door to Kinzo study was being violently, harshly beaten against over and over again like a percussion instrument. The yells coming from the other side belonged to Kraus, Rudolph, and sometimes Ava. It was the siblings who were trying to intrude upon Kinzo's study to question him about the truth behind that mysterious letter. Kinzo was eating. An elegant tablecloth was set over the desk, and the fabulous dinner that adorned the table down in the dining hall was reproduced here. Kinzo continued his meal in silence. Shannon, taking away an empty plate, looked uncomfortably between the door being pounded on in Kinzo's face.
Everyone is calling for you, but what should I do?
Leave them. God and my meals both hold silence as a virtue. Should I silence them? There's no need. It does not even reach my ears. Kinzo enjoyed his food, apparently indifferent. Genji quietly lowered his head and took a single step back. As he did, Kanon, who stood in reserve like a shadow behind and to the side of Genji, opened his mouth.
Maria-sama apparently received a letter from Beatrice-sama, so I imagine they want to test its authenticity.
Has she started already, then? Come, Beatrice. I have no shortage of coins to be wagered. Shall we enjoy this night to the fullest? I don't think I'll lose. Your smile will be mine for all eternity. If I could see it one more time, I wouldn't regret losing my wealth, my honor, or even my life. Well then, the roulette has begun to spin. Which pocket will the ball fall into? Nor, Rouge, or House takes all? Come, you may begin, Beatrice. I'll show you the power of miracles once more. Okay. Okay. Now things are starting to heat up. Alright, alright. We had the whole introduction sequence, everyone being introduced, got a feel for everyone's personalities, you know. And now things are kicking up. I'm here for it. Let's go.